another history section. Today, let us take a brief look about the topic towards civil disobedience. Let us learn about the event that happened before the march. In 1922, an act of violence that completely shook Mahatma Gandhi ji and other Congress leader was Chori Chora incident. In Chori Chora, a peaceful demonstration took violence near the liquor shop turned the entire history. To control the crowd, policemen opened fire. In this firing, a few satyagrahis got killed, while some of them got injured. The hesitated crowd set the police station on fire where the policemen had locked themselves. In this incident, several policemen were burnt alive. Shocked by such widespread violence in February 1922, Mahatma Gandhi ji decided to take back the non-cooperation movement. At this time, a lot was going on within the Congress as well. Tired of mass struggle, some Congress leaders wanted to participate in the election to the Provisional Council. By joining this council, Congress leaders hope to have power their seats in the British policy. They can oppose the wrong policies and suggest reforms. To argue for Indian representation in the council, Motilal Nehru Chitranjan Das formed the Swaraj Party within the Congress in 1922. However, young leaders such as Jawaharlal Nehru and Subhash Chandra Bose opposed the formation of this party and thrust on full independence based on socialistic ideas. They demanded a radical mass movement. In the 1920s, two factors influenced the growth of the national movement: the worldwide economic depression and the formation of the Commission under Sir John Simon. With the economic depression by 1930, the price had hit an all-time low. This impacted the export of agriculture goods, and peasants found it difficult to sell their produce and gather money for revenue. The Simon Commission was a statutory commission which aimed at looking into the constitutional system of India and suggest changes. It was an all-white commission without any Indian representation. In 1928, when Simon Commission came to India, all parties such as the Congress and the Muslim League protested against it. To pacify the leaders, Lord Irwin, the Viceroy of India, gave a vague offer of domination status to India and also proposed a round table conference. The Congress leaders were not happy with these proposals. In the Lahore session of the Congress in 1929, Jawaharlal Nehru declared the demand for Purna Swaraj or full independence to India. The call of Purna Swaraj did not create much enthusiasm among the Indian people. Therefore, Mahatma Gandhi ji felt the need to express the idea of freedom using issues from everyday life. Mahatma Gandhi ji discovered that salt was the common unifying factor. It was a common ingredient in the food of both the rich and the poor. Mahatma Gandhi ji viewed the tax on salt and the monopoly of the government on its production as a downright oppressive. So, Gandhi ji started Salt March and the civil disobedience movement. Let us focus about that, children, now. Mahatma Gandhi found salt a powerful symbol that unites the nation. On 31st January 1930, he sends a letter to Viceroy Irwin stating 11 demands. Some of them were of general interest, others were specific demands of different classes, from industrialists to farmers. The idea was to make the demand wide ranging so that all classes within Indian society could identify with them and everyone could be brought together in a united campaign. The most stirring of all was the demand to abolish the salt tax. Salt was something consumed by rich and the poor alike, and it was one of the most essential items of food. The tax on salt and the government monopoly over its production, Mahatma Gandhi declared, revived the most oppressive phase of the British rule. Mahatma Gandhi's letter was in a way an ultimatum. If the demands were not fulfilled by 11th March, the letter stated the Congress could launch a civil disobedience campaign. Irwin was unwilling to negotiate with Gandhiji's proposal. So Gandhiji started his famous Salt March accompanied by 78 of his trusted volunteers. The march was over 240 miles from Gandhiji's ashram in Sabarmati to the Gujarati coastal town of Dandi. The volunteers walked for 24 days, about 10 miles a day. Thousands came to hear Mahatma Gandhiji's wherever he stopped, and he told them what he meant by Swaraj and urged them to peacefully defy the British. On 6th April, he reached Dandi and ceremonially violated the law manufacturing salt by boiling sea water. This marked the beginning of the civil disobedience movement. Now, let us understand how was this movement different from the non-cooperation movement. We can see a lot of difference between the non-cooperation and civil disobedience movement. The non-cooperation movement aimed at bringing the British government to a standstill by refusing to cooperate with them. The civil disobedience movement was more assertive and aimed at non-cooperation with the British as well as an open violation of oppressive British law. Under the leadership of Mahatma Gandhiji, the civil disobedience movement spread across the country like wildfire. He encouraged people to fight for Swaraj and oppose to British rule in a non-violent manner. The British got worried by the growing popularity of the movement, and so they began arresting all the prominent Congress leaders. In April 1930, Abdul Ghaffar Khan, a political and spiritual leader and follower of the Gandhi, was arrested. Angry people took out demonstrations and protested to oppose Ghaffar Khan's arrest. So, the British police opened fire in which many people got killed. At same place, soldiers had also staged resistance against the British regime. For example, in 1930, the soldiers of the Peshawar Rifles had refused to open fire at an unarmed crowd of peaceful satyagrahis in Peshawar. In May 1930, when Mahatma Gandhiji got arrested, several industrial workers in that area, that is in the Solanpur, attacked the government buildings and offices. A frightened and shaken, the British government responded with a policy of brutal repression. Peaceful satyagrahis were arrested, women and children were beaten. On seeing the widespread violence, Mahatma Gandhi decided to call off the civil disobedience movement in 1931. This decision disheartened the people who were taking part in the movement with a lot of sin. On the 5th of March 1931, Mahatma Gandhi ji entered into the pact with Lord Irwin, the Viceroy of India. This pact is known as the Gandhi-Irwin Pact. As per the pact, he agreed to participate in the Round Table Conference to be held in the London. On the other hand, the British government agreed to release or free the prisoners. In the December 1931, Mahatma Gandhi ji visited the London, but he came back with disheartened, as the negotiation did not reach any final decision. On his arrival in India, he found that the repression of the British government had taken a new turn. Several Congress leaders such as Jawaharlal Nehru and Abdul Ghaffar Khan had been arrested. Moreover, the British had declared the Congress an illegal party and clamped down on all the protest public meetings and demonstrations. This made Mahatma Gandhi ji relaunch the civil disobedience movement. This time, though not many people participated in it. Consequently, the movement completely lost the momentum by 1934. Several people from different sections of the society had participated in the civil disobedience movement to meet their specified objectives. Each group interpreted the meaning of the Swaraj in their own way. How the participants saw the movement? About that, we are going to learn it in the next class. Thank you, children. Have a nice day. Bye.